Miscellaneous minds, never explaining the minds. Devilish grin for my alias, aliens who respond. Peddling sin, thinking maybe when you get old you realize I'm not gonna fold or demise. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Miscellaneous Minds Podcast. I'm your co-host, Puma El Gato, the cat that gives you your vulnerability back. And to my right over here is the main man, Jesus De Niro, the man that makes the fat stacks. Together we form the dynamic duo that won't die, deadly to the Diaz brothers, and spicier content than your girl's OnlyFans. Brother, what is the topic of discussion this week?
Tonight I decided to open up a little bit as far as a couple things on the men's side that women have common misconceptions of. I know that based on what I see on my Facebook, I see a lot of you people on there talking about different aspects of different relationships. I know we've previously done a discussion on modern relationships, but I wanted to open it up a little bit more about the misconceptions that women have about men in the way that we express ourselves, in the way that we express certain emotions, and what we as men can do a little bit better to kind of open up ourselves and kind of be a little bit more describing of our emotions, describing of our feelings, and kind of opening ourselves up to females a little bit more. That way that they can understand what we're going through. So with that being said, I'm gonna kind of kick it off, I guess, with a personal example. So in a few of my different relationships, mostly when I was younger, a lot of women told me that because I was very down the middle when I made certain decisions, that I must not care about their feelings. Now, this is a common misconception that I think a lot of men make, or a lot of women make about men, in relation to the understanding of how men express emotion, how men express fondness, how they care about how they express that they care about you, about how they express their love for you. So I think that's one of the things that is a common misconception. So for example, let's say a woman says, "Oh, you don't show much emotion. You must not care about me in this particular aspect, whatever that aspect may be." Men do show that they care. They just show it in a much more rigid way, which I'll be honest with you, I feel like is a mistake, and at the same time it's a strength. So for example, a lot of men show that they care by making sure that the family's straight. Now, this is one of the things that we as men it's been drilled into us from birth, basically, from when we were little boys, that you have to protect women, that you have to make sure that they're safe. That includes making sure that they have a roof over their head. That includes making sure that they're fed, so on and so forth. That we have the things that we need to go on on a daily basis. Now, I know some women are going to say, "Oh, but my man doesn't do that." Look, we're not talking about men, and I'm actually going to address this in another concept in a second. We're not talking about the men that don't do their jobs. I'm talking about the men that specifically do. Now, don't get me wrong. You may say to yourself, "Oh, I have a man that yes, he provides, yes, he has a roof over our head, but he's not open emotionally," which I think is a big problem for us men. Us as men, we do need to be a little bit more open with our emotions. In the very least, describing, look, to your girl, "Look, girl, this is what I'm doing to show you that I care about you." And women, it's your job to make sure that you understand that when he explains that, it's not a one-off. It's not that this dude is making an excuse. This really is how he is. So again, if a girl, and this has happened to me especially when I was younger, told me, "Oh, Jesus, you don't care about me because you don't show me enough emotion, or you don't hug me, or it seems like you're emotional," so on and so forth. And so look, my thing is, my number one job I see to my family is to make sure that they're provided for, they're taken care of, they're looked after. That again, we have all the provisions from day-to-day basis, so on and so forth. Now, that we do again by providing those things. And I know a lot of women have told me, like, "Look, that should be part of the package," and I understand that should be part of the package. The problem is that I feel like it gets dismissed because it is part of the package. Imagine a man that said, "I will love you to the ends of the earth, but I will not provide for you a home. I will not provide for you food. I will not provide for you safety." You see what I'm saying? You guys will not be happy with that. You guys will not be happy with someone that showed you all entirely emotional side, but didn't provide the side that's viewed as the man's responsibility. So I think a lot of times that gets taken for granted because a lot of people say it is part of the package, which again, I do agree, it should be part of the package. But just because it's part of the package, it shouldn't be dismissed. Imagine a car salesman sells you a car, you get it outside, and when you got to go in that bitch, it turns out there's no wheels. And you're like, "Well, what the fuck? Why isn't there any goddamn wheels on it?" And they're like, "Well, it's not part of the package." See what I'm saying? Yes, it's part of the package, and I understand that it should be part of the package, but you should also respect that you have it. I want to give another personal anecdote. In one of my previous relationships, a woman that I was dating was basically saying, that she felt that I was kind of not a super emotional guy, And I told her, look, I understand that, but you know, take a step back. So I have decided to work, you know, longer hours at different times in my life. I've decided to, so that she wouldn't stress, I decided to put on some of my own wants for frivolous items, to be fair, in order so that she can get some of her more frivolous items. I'll give you a real example. With my ex, I paid for her to get her nails done and all that good stuff. I paid for at times for her and her sisters, her family members as well, and get their nails done. Not because I felt some sort of obligation to pay for her sisters and her niece and all that kind of stuff, but because I felt like, look, I know she's gonna love this. I know she's gonna care about it. Now, again, I wasn't, you know, overly emotional, like, oh baby, I love you, blah blah blah. But I was showing her in my own way, like, look, this is one of those things where I'm showing you that through my hard work, I can provide this thing for you and your family to go have fun and enjoy a day, you know, of all that together. So I think it comes in many different ways, and I think often for us men, it gets looked over because it seems like, again, it should be part of the package to be a provider. But again, imagine in the reverse, if a man gave you all emotion but no provisions. I don't think you'd be too happy with the reverse either. Anything that you want to throw in that, man?
I mean, with the whole like giving praise and affection, at least for maybe on my end, like it's not devoid on my end, but I mean, I don't really do it as often as, you know, my girl would say it to me. But it's like I really saw it more as like okay, it's, you only really bring it out in moments that really matter. If you say I love you every single second, every day, it kind of loses the meaning, or at least for me, that's what it kind of feels like. Because I mean, how often has our dads said "I love you" to us as a son versus how often our mom said it? There's a bit of a difference in communication, and it's not to say that our dad never loved us or our mom doesn't value affection the same way. It was like, no, it's a different form of communication, and I feel like that's an important thing to really think about when you're, especially when ladies are talking about their man and like, oh, he's not attentive, he's, you know, unaffectionate, he's unemotional. Like, it's a difference of communication.
Yeah, and you know what? There's you know, using that, I guess the value of those particular items that we're talking about as far as affection shown is something that I think men and women value differently, which we need to, ladies, you guys need to start understanding that just because, you know, I'm not like oh, I love you, I'm not like a super lovey-dovey dude every day, that doesn't mean that you don't. I'll give you another really good example that has nothing to do with money. So more than a couple times, you know, I woke up. I generally wake up earlier than my I guess ex. I would generally wake up earlier than her. So a lot of times what I would do is, man, I'd pick up everything. You know, I'd clean up the room and everything. You know, get everything, you know, nice and comfortable for her. That way, when she woke up, she could take it easy. You know what I mean? She could get up, get her coffee, you know, do her makeup, you know, do the things that she enjoys doing instead of having to worry about picking up every little thing. I would get up and make my ex-stepson breakfast and stuff like that. Again, just so that she could take it easy. So there's things like that again, you need to understand that's a man's way of showing you affection. Just because some people are going to say, oh, well, that's your responsibility. I agree that it is my responsibility just as much as her responsibility to clean up and everything, but you have to value it. Just because it's somebody's responsibility doesn't mean you shouldn't value the effort that's put in. Again, you know, I could have waited and said, okay, how about you do the bathroom and I do the kitchen, or you do the kitchen and I'll do the bedroom, you know what I mean? But no, I took it upon myself to make sure that, again, everything was as comfortable as possible for her to get up. And to me, in my eyes, that's me showing, hey, look, I care about you, I care about your well-being, I care about your mental health. So I wanted to make sure she's comfortable, she could take an easy day and stuff like that. So there's things like that I think women don't generally give as much attention to, because again, it should be part of the package. And again, respect it. But again, women, you showing us emotion should be part of the package. You being lovey-dovey should be part of the package. So at the same time, while you're saying, oh, men don't show us emotion, therefore they must not value this, at the same time, a lot of times you guys are overly emotional, and it seems like because you are that, we devalue it less, but we don't. I'll give you a really good example. I know you ladies like being called beautiful. I know you ladies, you know, like feeling like you're the center of your man's attention. That man likes that shit too. Like, I can't tell you, like, you know, the women that I've dated, don't get me wrong, they have been very affectionate. They have told me that I'm handsome, you know, blah, 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 blah. But I'll be honest with you, I see a lot of relationships where that's not the norm, and I think that's a big mistake. Yes, the man should obviously, you know, tell their woman that they're beautiful and so on and so forth, but that should be the reverse on the man as well. You know what I mean? You know, you should throw him a little what, you know, when you know, he gets fresh out the shower, or when he's looking good, or gets a new haircut, or, you know, whatever the situation may be for your man. So I think that's another misconception that women get. They feel like they should be the center of attention in the relationship, and that's wrong. It should be even down the middle. The same way that you say, oh, you know, this man providing for me, or this man, you know, helping out at the home, or, you know, so on and so forth. That should be embedded. So should the reverse. And again, it was for a lot of my relationships, but a lot of the women that I dated also weren't super overly affectionate, which I don't have a problem with. The problem is that expecting that and not returning it is the same thing. So I think it comes in a lot of different flavors, a lot of different ways. So I think you guys, especially the women, you guys need to understand. Now, not every man, in fact, most men, are not going to be super overly emotional because we've been conditioned from growing up, from the I fell and I started crying. Don't cry, you're a man. Don't cry, you're a boy. Or the boys don't cry. All these type of things that we've been conditioned as little boys that even women do. In fact, my own mother used to tell me that kind of stuff. Oh, man up and stuff like that. When I was a little boy and stuff like that. So it's one of those scenarios where a lot of times you guys instill those same values in the men that you, or that one day will, grow up to be with a woman that will face the same issues that you faced. So we need to stop looking at it like it's a one-way street with a lot of this stuff. We need to stop looking at it like it's if you don't show me my love my way, you must not love me. I know that there was an anecdote that you and I were talking about with you as far as appreciation for each other and the expectations that I guess you and your lady had.
Yes. So, I guess it's a bit of a social obligation that women feel that they have to do for men, be there at their events, and in turn, that women feel that their men should be present in their events. Mostly kickbacks with her homegirls and all that. But I actually kind of reached I guess a bit of empathy on her end because, so we went to a boxing event at at his dad's place. And he invited me over, and I'm like, all right, cool. I want to see Canelo fight. That sounds fucking dope. My girl isn't a fan of boxing. She doesn't even want to be there for the prelim. She's not excited for the main event. But I was like, respect. If that's not her thing, if combat sports aren't her thing, no dog on her. So I let her know, hey, there's a boxing event that's going on at his dad's place. I'm hanging out with him. You don't have to come with because I know boxing bores the shit out of you. And she was like, no, I want to be with you. I want to support you and all that. And I was like, you don't have to. I know you're going to be bored, and we're probably going to be there for minimum 4 hours. And I know that's going to bore the hell out of you. You don't have to come. But you can come with, once the fight's over, and then we can do whatever you want. But the opposite didn't really happen on her end. And I probably should be more communicative with this, but she wanted me to be more attentive around her friend's event. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll try my best, but we don't really have a shared interest. Her friend asked me, I was like, have you ever snowboarded in your life? And I was like, I've been in Arizona all my life. Never saw 1 inch of snow since Flagstaff when I was 8. So I'm like, this isn't my thing. And even there, I was like, whoa, their boyfriends or husbands, they all like sports. I was like, all right, cool. And they asked me, do you like the Kentucky Derby? And I'm like, nah, that's not me. So I feel like it's at least as far as if your man doesn't really seem attentive in the stuff that you want to bring your man to, it's not because he doesn't want to be attempted. It's not really his thing. And I feel like it's one of those, there needs to be a common ground of all right, you don't have to come to my thing, I don't have to come to your thing. But I feel like if the man doesn't come to her thing, he's gonna be seen he's never attentive.
Yeah, I think that's a big misconception as far as the dating world, where if the man doesn't at least feign interest or attempt to feign interest in the thing that the woman wants, he's not attentive, he's a piece of shit, he's not a good person, so on and so forth. But the same is expected of women. Again, I have no problem if any of the women that I date don't want to attend any of the sporting events that I go to. I get it, for a lot of women, it's not their thing. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to hate them. I'm not going to, think any less of her. I'm not going to think she's not attentive just because she's not addressing or attending these events with me. And I think that the same needs to be reciprocated. In the times that your man does go with you, you need to appreciate the effort because, again, a lot of times, I would get invited with some of my exes to see, some of their female friends' events and stuff like that. Which I'll be honest with you, it's not that I'm trying to be an asshole about it, but I mean, me sitting there talking, listening to about how these women are gossiping over, the family member that did this or the friend that did that. And I'm not trying to be, a dick about it because again, I'm not saying every woman's out here gossiping, but in the particular events that I have to go to, that's a lot of it what it was. They were just talking about, this family member did this and they did that, so on and so forth. So, I'll be honest with you, I was bored out of my mind. I was kind of sitting there fuck man, it is what it is, but I showed up because I wanted her to feel like I was at least attempting, you know, to be part of her thing. So it's one of those scenarios where even the effort needs to be appreciated. You know, again, I'm not saying that you should just feign interest because you want to show your spouse that you care. You should try and care. But at the same time, you know, I've been to plenty of these events with her and her family members. Again, most of them are women. And again, it would same thing over and over. We're just rehashing some dramatics of, you know, this person did this, gossiping about this person did that. So again, I do feel that women should appreciate the effort. And again, there's a lot of women out there that I'm sure feign interest in UFC or in boxing or in football or in basketball and whatever. And you fellas should show those women appreciation because they're at least attempting. Don't get me wrong, some women genuinely get into it, and that's fucking admirable because it's super dope when you can share something like that with your spouse. Here, I'll give you another really good example. Me personally, for the first time, this was last year. For the first time, I went to a nail salon, and I'm not sure what the hell it was called, but they clipped my nails and all that kind of shit, and they did like some sort of like, I think it was like a sugar scrub or something like that on my legs and shit like that. And here's the thing, I've never done that before. I did it because I cared about this girl. I wanted to show her, look, I'm attempting to take an interest in the things that you want or the things that you like. So again, the fact that the man makes the effort, that's a big one. The man that makes the effort, even if he tries and he just doesn't latch on, it's just not a thing, appreciate that, ladies. You know what I mean? Again, there's a lot of misconceptions of I don't care, you know. So for example, I went, if I don't go again, it's like, look, I tried, man. I tried to like it. It just wasn't my thing. But that doesn't mean I don't care. I clearly care because I went. It's just one of those concepts where, you know, we need to start having that more open dialogue. And that, I'll be honest with you, that is one aspect where both sexes fail. Men don't necessarily talk a considerable amount about their feelings. And a lot of times when women become emotionally, I don't want to say unstable, when they become like too emotionally invested in a scenario, they shut down because they feel like they're not going to get away with women. We all know the phrase, nothing, I'm fine. I mean, like, you can't ask for open communication and then when somebody asks you what's wrong, you come out with that line. So there's a lot of miscommunication there, but at the same time, though, ladies, just know that just because your man's not the most emotional guy, just because, you know, he doesn't outwardly show this huge display of emotion, that doesn't mean he doesn't care. Again, we do care. We just show it in different ways: protecting, providing, you know, helping with the raising of the kids. You know, again, in my case, I was helping clean up around the crib. I was training her dogs. I mean, because, you know, my dog is very well trained, so I was training her dogs. I was making sure, you know, I was doing homework with my son and all that. So there's a lot of different ways that a man shows that he cares about his family, shows that he cares about his woman. I was doing, like, me personally, I mean, this is more of a now that I've grown up a little bit type thing. Like, I was doing the massages, I was doing a lot more of the cuddling, all that kind of stuff. So the things that women generally do look for more, I was doing more. But again, even taking it back to the more caveman me, taking it back to the more simplistic me, a man cares, ladies. A man cares. There's the common misconception that he doesn't care. But I'll say this, look, ladies, when you meet a man, you know, I'm sure within like the first maybe week, maybe the first month, you know if this is a man that's genuinely going to try and progress something with you on a non-superficial level, on an actual deep level. You know that. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, I know you guys will not pay attention to it because you find this man very attractive. You fuck with his personality. Like, you want this man to be something deep, but he may not be. And I know a lot of you ladies know. So you have to understand that if you know from the get that this man is not going to invest in you on a deep level, that it's going to be more of a superficial relationship, and you guys will be together for maybe 2 or 3 years, and then eventually it'll fizzle out because you guys just do not come together. Don't pursue it. Don't pursue it. Stick with the man that you know is going to actually invest in you. Stick with the man that will actually try with you. And again, just because it's not the try that you want, just because it's not 100% of what you're looking for, don't think that the man doesn't care. If the man tries, even if he doesn't hit the mark every single time, if the man tries, give that man a shot. Let him, appreciate that effort, appreciate that attempt. Again, I've talked about it a lot on the podcast, but I deal with family law, and I deal with divorces, and the breaking up of families and all that on a daily basis. And I can tell you, it really is genuinely sad when you can tell that at the beginning of a relationship, and I base this on texts that I've seen from couples, the different videos that they took throughout their relationship, stuff like that. You can tell that at one point there was genuine love there. So to see that, die over something, a lot of times, unfortunately, it's something really stupid. It's not, it's not one of the big ones like infidelity or someone was stealing money or something like that. It's not one of the big ones. It's a lack of communication or miscommunication or just different things like that. It's sad to see something genuine die out because of something that superficial. So I say, again, appreciate one another, appreciate the fact that your man tries, appreciate the fact that a lot of times, we do struggle with different things and we don't talk about it. Not so much because, a lot of times we don't want to talk about it. At one point or another, we'll open up. But because we feel that we need to internalize this because it's our problem. I understand, yes, when you're in a relationship, it's our problem. I get that, but we don't like to place that burden on our significant others. We generally will try to figure out our own way to solve it, not because we don't want you involved, but because we don't feel we should burden you as the man of the house, so to speak, with these issues. Much deeper dive. I'm hoping to have a female on to discuss the opposite of this particular topic. The topic being, women's misunderstandings of the way men express their affection. It's a much deeper dive that I'm sure we could take to, and I'm sure once we get a little bit further into the podcast, we'll discuss this issue again into much more depth. But I've seen a lot of people on my Facebook talking about relationships this week, so I figured maybe do a little bit of an extra relationship podcast apart from the discussion of modern relationships that we previously done with a good friend of the show. With that being said, is there anything you want to add, my man?
No, I think that's it for me.
I thank you for tuning in again. We appreciate all the support. You guys showed a lot of love in our last video. We appreciate it. I got a lot of DMs about it. Appreciate the feedback from everybody. I like the engagement. Thank you guys so much for supporting us as much as you guys have. We're going to continue to make the show better. We actually just finally we got one of our pieces of equipment that finally got here after we ordered it. So the next show might be a little bit different if I can get everything up and running the right way. But with that being said, thank you. Comment, like, subscribe, share, send it to your friends, all that good stuff. And with that being said,
until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you on the next one.